Hey, Joe Zarzaur here with another segment of Zarzaur Law TV. Today we're talking about medical malpractice cases, and specifically I wanted to talk about how important it is to have a set of medical professionals' eyes look at the case as soon as possible. I have been handling medical malpractice cases, and we at the firm have been handling them for over a decade. And I have learned very quickly that lawyers, no matter how well they're versed in the law and how many medical cases they work on or how many experts they've spoken to in their lawyer capacity, they're not doctors unless they've gone to medical school. Very few of us have the distinction of being a medical doctor and a lawyer. So the next best thing to being a medical doctor and a lawyer in one person is having a medical doctor and the lawyer that you're working with all in the same spot. So as I've said in other videos, Zarzaur Law decided back in the beginning of 2020 to bring in a medical physician full-time on staff in the office. Now, of course, the virus has prevented us from being in the office much of 2020, but now we are in the office, of course, full-time and observing social distancing and masking standards. But the point of the matter is we're all in the office together. And in medical malpractice cases, that's essential because what happens is we get a call about a potential medical malpractice case, and I'd say a large majority of them, unfortunately, we can't help the clients for whatever reason. There's a medical reason, there's a legal reason, you're not the proper party to bring the case, your damages aren't significant enough because many people don't understand that if you heal up from a medical mistake, unless you've got a really bad disability from that or some permanent injury, it's probably not going to be worth pursuing because we as the law firm spend about $250,000 on these cases on average. So the next thing that has to be done after the initial phone call with a potential medical malpractice case is that a physician needs to review the records. Well, if you don't have a physician in the office, that's going to be an outsourced event like we used to do. And an outsourced expert review means that you're going to have to hire a separate business that's not there, that handles other people's stuff, other law firms' stuff, or has a day job and does this in the evenings. And you're going to experience somewhat of a delay, perhaps, unless the person is captive to your office. So what I was experiencing is I'd get a case in, I think it was a decent case. I'd send it out to my expert physician. And about 4 months later, 2 months later, 3 months later, a month later, whatever it is, a number of days later, I would get a call back from the expert saying whether he felt there was a case or not, or she felt there was a case or not. I didn't feel like there was an efficient way to handle these medical malpractice intakes. So I decided as a law firm to incur the expense of having a board-certified internal medicine physician here at the law firm. So the initial screening of the medical records could not only be done by me as a lawyer practicing in this area, but also by a board-certified internal medicine doctor who actually knows the medicine much better than us non-physicians do. So Dr. Malone, just comment a little bit about how you've done that here, looking at potential medical malpractice cases, how you can condense 3,000 or 1,000 pages of records into 13 pages of consequential information for us to review, and then how you've seen us be able to do that in an efficient basis over the last year since you've been here.
Yeah, and you're right. It starts from that initial phone call, and sometimes it's maybe just enough information to be dangerous, meaning dangerous that an attorney would say, oh, there's no case here, and turn it down and say, you're on your way, or dangerous in that you hold on to it and 2 months goes by, half a year goes by, and as you know, the clock is ticking on the statute of limitations, and by the time you realize there's a case, there's not much time to do anything with it. So it's overwhelming. I've seen that come in multiple times, and you mentioned the 3,000 page chart, and yeah, we've gotten boxes of charts in here. And so I'll start with that initial phone call that you have as the little nugget, but I look at that and then say, now let's just look at the chart and use this information to kind of help direct us initially. But these charts are so overwhelming, especially nowadays with the EMRs, the electronic medical record. When a client of ours or a patient or their family member requests the chart, the printed version of an EMR, what used to be just a binder, ends up being 2 or 3 boxes. these orders, these lab results, everything prints like in triplicate almost. So to be able to kind of drive through all that and say, I know where it's at if I need to come back and get it, that's kind of the approach that I take. That I think having a background looking at charts, hospital-based charts, working in a hospital-based system allows me to navigate that. Like, I guess it's second nature at a certain point. And then beyond that, you look at more than what's written on the chart. You look at the interplay of when these notes were coming on the chart, which physicians were coming through and seeing a patient, the time of the day they were seeing a patient, whether the chart work was being created in a timely manner versus, months later down the road. At that point, you say, wait a second, there's a huge gap here. And those are things that I think that someone, a physician or a nurse who deals with this stuff day in and day out is going to catch, and someone who's legally trained only is going to miss that information when applied to a medical scenario.
Yep. Now, and we're just talking about the evaluation of the medical malpractice case at this point. We're going to do another video that talks about how essential Dr. Malone is to go with me during the litigation process itself and sit with me at depositions to make sure the doctors are not speaking in medicalese to get past certain things that we may not as lawyers catch. But in any event, what I'm telling you in this video is if there's a law firm that you feel is looking at your case and you want sort of an answer, I have noticed in my own practice that people deserve an answer within a week or so, unless there's some delay with the medical records. Now, sometimes you can't control the delay with the medical records, but once the medical records are received by the office, it's my goal at this office with Dr. Malone here in the office with us full time to get a response back to the potential client within a week. Sometimes it's a matter of a couple of days, okay? But the point of this is simple. If you only have 2 years to file these malpractice cases, and the longer you wait and get closer to the statute, the less likely any lawyer is going to want to deal with that case. I encourage, even if you visited with another lawyer, there's nothing that prevents you from visiting with other lawyers at the same time. The idea that your case can be evaluated by multiple lawyers is not against any rules or laws or anything like that. You have the right as a client or a prospective client to get as many opinions as you want. That even applies even after you've hired a firm and filed a lawsuit. You can call another firm and ask another firm's opinion. I feel it's important from a timing perspective to get the potential clients, an answer in a timely manner. That is what we're doing. That is why I have invested into Dr. Malone's physical presence in this office so that we can get an initial review in a timely manner back to the potential client. That's how we handle all of our cases here, but malpractice cases especially. There's no reason, once the medical records are provided to the firm, that you should be waiting an unreasonable amount of time. So, of course, if you dump 10,000 documents here and expect us to review it in 24 hours, that may be a problem. But most of the cases don't involve 10,000 documents. Most of them involve usually less than 1,000, less than 500. So it's important for me to communicate to any prospective medical malpractice client that we pride ourselves on doing a lot of this work in-house. We still have to hire outside experts if we have to file something. But the initial review process where we're telling you whether there's a thumb up or thumb down on the case is something that can be done in a matter of days as long as we have the records.
Well, and I'll add, Joe, that you mentioned that getting an expert involved. I think having my review on your side, on the firm side, allows the firm then to take that next step and get the best expert on the first shot. Yeah. So you're wasting time. Oh, we didn't know we need to talk to this kind of a surgeon or someone who only does this, or whatever their background is. I'm like, I'll look at the chart and say this is where the fault was. So that's what we need. Yep. And there's none of this guessing game and wasting more months as again that
right.
statute.
And when we go looking for an expert, it's not some lawyer that sues doctors calling up trying to find another doctor to serve as an expert. It's a Dr. Malone that's calling on behalf of the law firm, and he is inquiring as to a medical expert for this issue. Now, he is upfront about it, that he works for the law firm, but at the end of the day, they're dealing with a physician, not a lawyer. So imagine you're a physician practicing medicine and you happen to be the world's renowned specialist on this condition, name it X condition. And you have 3 lawyers that have called you to ask you to serve as an expert, and you have a medical doctor that's called you to ask you to serve as an expert. Which call do you think that physician is going to make first? Well, she's going to call the doctor back first, right? Even though the doctor said he works for a lawyer, she's going to feel more comfortable calling the doctor back first. And so we take advantage of that because we're paying for that, right? We're paying to serve our clients with the extra added benefit of having a board certified internal medicine physician here at the office on staff to help us with these cases. If you have a question about a medical malpractice case as a potential client, you can find us on the web at zarzaurlaw.com, or you can call us at 855-HIRE-JOE. On behalf of Dr. Malone, thank you for watching.